Amis, c'est l'heure de la jeunesse. Suivons la voie de la sagesse qui nous appelle, qui nous invite à l'union. C'est la voie de la nation.
Fellow Cameroonians, I'm Jacques Bouhga Hagbe, a Cameroonian economist and candidate in the upcoming presidential election in October 2025 in Cameroon. In this video message, I'd like to talk to you about my proposals on the monetary system that I intend to establish in Cameroon. If I'm elected, Cameroon will leave the CFA zone and will have its own national currency, which is an important tool for macroeconomic management, and a central bank, the Central Bank of Cameroon, or the CBK, because Cameroon will be spelled with K. The CBK will be a constitutional entity responsible for creating and managing this national currency. In fact, Cameroon already had its own currency before the German occupation. It was strong and was called the Krou. One Krou was worth 20 German marks in 1884. The Krou was the monetary unit for Cameroonians' transactions with Europeans. For commercial transactions within the country, other monetary units were used. It was the German occupier who never wanted to pay the market price for Cameroonian goods and services, who first gradually devalued the Krou and finally decided to abolish it unilaterally on April 6, 1894, by decree of the so-called governor, Eugene von Zimmer. His objective was to impose the German currency in Cameroon, the Reichsmark, to establish lasting German domination of Cameroon, and above all, and I quote, the economic supremacy of whites against competition from blacks. Cameroon will return to the source of its monetary history and rid itself, once and for all, of the vestiges of the German and Franco-British occupations. In the new constitution, Cameroon's national currency will be called the Krou, K-R-O-O or K-R-U. Other smaller units of the Krou will be defined in a decree of the President of the Republic and will include the keg, the piggins, the bar, and the bomb, which were monetary units used before the German occupation. Before its market launch, its conversion rate will be 1,000 CFA francs for one Krou. All assets in CFA franc will be converted into Krous using this conversion rate. For example, an asset of 10 million CFA francs will be converted into an asset of 10,000 Krous. All contracts signed under Cameroonian jurisdiction before the Krous market launch and which specify amounts in CFA franc will be legally interpreted using the conversion rate of 1,000 CFA francs for one Krou. For example, a contract signed before the Krous launch, which specifies that Party A must pay Party B 50,000 CFA francs per month, will be legally interpreted as a contract which specifies that Party A must pay Party B 50 crores per month after the Krous launch. Following the launch of the Krou on financial markets, the Krou will be able to be traded on Cameroonian and foreign markets under the conditions set by the CBK. The Krou's exchange rate will be floating and its value will be determined by Cameroonian domestic markets. The Krou's quotation on non-Cameroonian markets or its offshore value will be indexed to the Krou's value on Cameroonian markets. Contracts signed after the Krou's launch that specify payments in CFA francs or in general in a currency other than the Krou will have to be based on the Krou's exchange rate against these currencies. Cameroon will be able to continue accepting CFA francs from other countries in the region if France agrees to sign an agreement with Cameroon guaranteeing the convertibility of these CFA francs into euros at the current fixed exchange rate of €1 for 655.96 CFA francs. If France refuses to sign such an agreement with Cameroon, Cameroon will only accept CFA francs within the framework of the African Monetary Fund's African Currency Convertibility Agreements that will be established. The value of a currency is determined by supply and demand. The supply of the crude will be determined by the monetary policy of the CBK, whose primary objective will be to control the inflation rate, which should remain below 5%. It will also be necessary to create permanent domestic and international demand for the crude. Therefore, the Cameroon Constitution will require that payments for any obligations owed to the Cameroonian state and for certain Cameroonian goods and services be made exclusively in crude, even when the contract prices are denominated in other currencies. Buyers of these goods and services will first have to purchase the crude on domestic and international markets before making payments for these Cameroonian goods and services. These goods and services will be 1. Natural resources extracted in Cameroon. 2. Agricultural, fishery, and livestock products of Cameroon, whether processed or not. 3. Any source or form of energy produced in Cameroon, including petroleum products, solar and hydraulic energy. 4. All transport and transit services carried out on Cameroonian territory, including the transit of natural resources, such as oil from other countries which transit through Cameroon. And 5. All financial products issued or traded under Cameroonian jurisdiction, including private currencies issued under Cameroonian jurisdiction, foreign currencies traded on Cameroonian financial markets, and other financial products of the private sector. The President of the Republic could, by decree, extend the list of Cameroonian goods and services requiring payments exclusively in crude, even when the contractual prices are denominated in other currencies. Any violation of these legal provisions will lead to heavy sanctions. In 2 other video messages available on the website cameroonmovement.net, I give more details on the implementation of our future national currency and the private currencies that I will introduce into our national monetary system. As you can see, our country can recover very quickly. Do not be discouraged. Register to vote and do everything you can to vote in October. Join the Cameroon movement on his website cameroonmovement.net and let us lead the fight for change peacefully but with determination. Your financial support remains crucial. It consists of making donations to the Cameroon movement through the means available on his website. We'll need a lot of money to mobilize the Cameroonian people and monitor his vote for the liberation of Cameroon. Do not be afraid. Our only true political party is Cameroon. Do not be afraid. Long live free Cameroon. Long live free Africa. Thank you for your kind attention.
C'est la voix de la nation.